What's the difference between biofeedback and neurofeedback? That's a question we get a lot, so I thought I would take a moment to explain the difference. So biofeedback was the beginning of the process of using our conscious awareness to impact in a positive way the stress response. So the stress response is elevated blood pressure is associated with stress. It's when the body goes into fight, flight, or freeze mode. It does a certain kind of chemical patterning and electrical patterning in the brain, which is preparing the body for some sort of dangerous event. And so it's really how the brain is supposed to strategize and problem solve short term. It's like sprinting energy, and that's not sustainable long term, and it has a lot of impact on our health if we're under stress and in a stress response a lot. So biofeedback is the original methodology that we used to try to impact in a positive way when our body is going into a stress response. So we'd use things like measuring skin temperature, heart rate, breathing patterns, and have some device that captures feedback about those systems, and then we would use our conscious awareness to then lower that stress reactivity. So that might be doing deep breathing, it might be going for a walk, various things that we would do to lower that stress. So a biofeedback using our conscious awareness to positively impact lowering stress. So neurofeedback is an extension of biofeedback, but it's specifically going to the source of the stress, which is the stress response. And when the body is cued to go into that reactivity, it's in the brain, and specifically the limbic brain. So when computers got to be the speed where we could track and monitor the electrical activity of the brain is when neurofeedback came into existence. And neurofeedback is specifically, instead of measuring like skin temperature and breathing rate, we're going directly to the source and we're measuring brain waves so that we can identify when the brain is going into maladaptive patterns, such as the stress response. And the feedback is given to that unconscious part of our brain. So it's no longer a conscious process the way it is in biofeedback. It's now an unconscious process where we measure the electrical activity of the brain. It's fed into a neurofeedback system with computer with software, and either through auditory or visual feedback, that automatic functioning brain is cued when it needs to pay attention to its behavior, such as when it's going into a stress response. And then that automatic functioning brain will adjust itself in order to become more aligned with the here and now. So that would mean lowering stress, becoming more open, being able to focus, registering a safe environment, all sorts of benefits that come from training that brain to register when it's going into maladaptive patterns. So just to recap, biofeedback is conscious process using stress response signals such as change in skin temperature, breathing, and then we intervene consciously to do something to lower stress. Neurofeedback is a later development going specifically at the brain, how the brain can register its own stress reactivity. Using computer technology, we track that and we give brain the feedback it needs in the exact millisecond that it's going into maladaptive patterns so that brain can change itself. It's an unconscious part of our brain, and the intervention, that cueing with feedback, is also unconscious. So please subscribe to us. We have lots of videos. We send them out every week to learn more about neurofeedback, brain health, and how to reach your wellness goals.